Risk management as applied to safety, security and sanitation. Group 2. Performance task number 1 from safe work practices until 9. Ethical operation of the business. Safe work practices.
These guidelines help the workers to work in the safest way unless a new hazard has been identified. So, ambot pasabot diyan ni day ang mga guidelines daw or mga rules na maka-help sa mga workers sa industry kung naa daw ma-locate or ma-find out na naay mga bagong panganib sa industry. Employers to provide a safety and secure workplace for staff and organization to provide a safe and secure environment for the customers. So ambot pasabot ani ang mga employers daw nag-provide daw safety and secure nga workplace for sa ilang staff and nag-organize daw sad sila sa nag-provide sila sa safety and secure environment sa mga customers nila. Align with a concept of safer place rather than safe person. So ang meaning di ana kay ang mga employer is obliged to make workplace safer than nagrely sila sa mga ubang tao. So protect people, which means employees and customers. So from word of protect people, imo sila i-protect og di lang ang imong customers i-protect, imo sad employees. Be advised and details of what these prerequisites. Be advised daw and idetalyado nimo or kita ang mga kinahanglan daw. Be told of the classification categories the customers to which they apply. So ambot pasabot daw ana, for example kanang naay customer nga niadto sa restaurant and nag-order siya man wa siya kabaw nga unsa iyang i-order kay naglibog siya nga asa siya musugod og mutan-aw sa mga order. Be trained in how to inform customers. So need juday nimo nga mo train to how to communicate or to inform the customers. For example, ikaw nagtrabaho ka sa Starbucks man na customer man, imo siya i-inform para makabaw siya unsay lami o unsay nindot jud ninyo nga kape para makabaw siya ba. Be made aware of the consequence of failing to apply or communicate the protocol requirements. So kailangan kay baw ka sa imong hatol or consequence dili ka maminaw sa mga protocol nila or dili ka pasok sa ilang mga standards.
1. Emergency procedures.
Businesses should develop an emergency plan or EMP for their operations. The EMP will comprise a series of emergency procedures designed to address risks or threats which have been identified for the workplace and or other, perhaps offset travel and touring activities. At a minimum, tourism and hospitality enterprises shall have the following EMP. What is emergency procedures? An emergency is a serious, unexpected, and often dangerous event that requires quick response or action. An emergency process specifies the roles, actions, and resources required to respond to a crisis. Businesses should create an emergency management plan or EMP. Why emergency management plan is important? Businesses must take specific precautions to protect their operations, infrastructure, and employees against the potentially devastating impacts of an emergency. As a result, it is critical to develop a strategy ahead of time in order to be prepared in the event of emergency. Emergency situations which have been identified for the business, covering both internal emergencies such as fire or flood in the office, gas leak, loss of power or electricity, armed hold-up, and loss of data or bookings. Business identified emergency circumstances, including internal emergencies such as a fire or flood in the office, a gas leak, and so on. External emergencies are events which may occur on tour, such as loss of aircrafts where carrier airplane has crashed, vehicle breakdown, an accident, medical emergency, arrest a tour or group member, or missing person tour group member. An external emergency occurs outside of the facility, does not pose a direct threat to the employees, patients, or people inside the building. Detailed, approved, and effective procedures to follow and action to take to address the identified situation in sequential order. Tourism and hospitality enterprises should have detailed, verified, and effective procedures and actions to follow in order to fix the identified situation. Roles and responsibilities of designated personnel as required by the nature of the emergency or response. Any form of emergency shall require assigned people in tourist and hospitality businesses. Communication requirements to notify relevant others to advise and obtain assistance. Communication is required to tell relevant persons in order to receive advice and assistance. Relevant safety and security tips, advice, and or mandatory preventative actions as appropriate to the nature of individual identified threats or emergencies. As appropriate to the nature of each identified emergencies, relevant safety and security tips, guidance, and or mandatory preventative actions are provided. People or organizations to contact to include names, addresses, and contact numbers. People or organizations that can be contacted to provide name, address, and contact numbers in case of emergencies. Contingency plans. Contingency planning is a course of action that is made to help an organization on how to respond to an event that may or may not happen.
Kani nga situation need og wide mindset para ma-analyze jud ang mga problem sa business ug unsay mga issues nila nga dapat i-fix. Lack of training may result a bad performance, so dapat in training focus jud sa atong goal. More important is ang resources dapat sakto jud siya. In this case, every customer and applicant must have a passion in their duties. Dapat ang company mo-respond sila sa mga emergency, especially dapat ay insurance in case nga na accident na may tabo. Mas mayo pud nga makapawag ang mga employees nga dapat i-enhance nila ang work para sa good reputation sa ilang company ug sa mga maabot ang mga generations.
2. Dealing with death.
First and foremost, as we all know that death is inevitable. Death can happen anytime. And speaking of death, right now, I am going to report about dealing with death. Dealing with death. Businesses which conduct trips and tour will commonly have protocols for dealing with the death of a tour group member while on activities or tour. These protocols will traditionally cover action to address requirements and direction in relation to. So it means businesses that conduct trip and tour will have protocols for dealing with the death of a tourist while on activities or tour. These protocols will give us the action to address the need and direction in relation to protecting the scene. We have to protect the scene or the event that happened. Next, respecting the deceased person. Respect the deceased or dead person. Third, reporting requirements to local authorities and the head office. Report the needs and ask for help to local authorities or head office. Next, comforting others. Comfort others who are related of the deceased person who are with the event happened. This one, capturing evidence, information, and details relating to the event by taking photographs, making notes, and asking for witnesses. Next, assisting officials and authorities. Next, dealing with media. In dealing with media, first, we have to stay calm and don't say anything you don't want to publish. Next, not admitting liability. Next, not releasing details of the deceased person to others apart from officials. So it means be mindful in who you are giving the information of the deceased person except for officials. Lastly, determining action to take either to terminate a tour or trip or adjust the itinerary. So it means have a firm action to end the trip or adjust the tour plan. These protocols are developed for direction to staff about what to do. Second, compliance with legal requirements which apply following the demise of a person for the purposes of police investigation. So it means comply legal requirements or needs which apply of the death of a person for the purposes of police investigation. Next, damage control for the negative impact of the event on other tour group members. Means the control of the experience that is unpleasant, depressing, or harmful on other tour group members. And lastly, information control for media. All information must be on hold when it comes to media.
3. Personal safety and security.
This relates to the safety of tour group members and tour staff while on tour and to the security of documents, property, and cash belonging to the company customers. Protocols addressing the issues for personal safety and health will commonly address but not limited to the following identification of threats and issues which are likely to be encountered on tour through research, communication with others, agencies, operators, tour guides, authorities, previous customers, tour group members, dissemination of information on tour to include hand copy advice, safety and security to travelers as part of the package they receive when they make a booking. Provision of list contacts for the countries, areas the clients will be visiting such as medical, police embassies, and local in-country agencies associated with the primary provider. Travel with customers when possible and alert others of your plans when venturing out solo. Kini may kalabutan sa kaliwasan sa mga membro sa grupo, sa tour o gawani sa pagpalibot samtang nagbiyahe o sa seguridad sa mga dokumento, kabutangan o salapi nga sa mga customer o sa kumpanya.
4. General safety suggestions for travelers.
So first, safe keep travel itinerary to include airline booking, accommodation, and travel plans. So, keep your travel plans including accommodation details to yourself. And the second is, avoid traveling at night. Try not to travel at night, so if you do not have to go out at night with you should try to bring your someone along with you. Go traveling with a friend or bring a family member to the store with you. Most people understand the dangers of traveling alone at night and will be happy to come along with you. And the third is avoid crowded areas during nighttime. So, avoid crowded areas during nighttime to prevent putting yourself in danger. And the fourth is seek advice from reliable source, that is hotel personnel. Ask your hotel manager for advice on safe versus unsafe local areas. And the fifth is bring all along times the contact embassy when traveling abroad and a photocopy passport. So, carry with you at all times the contact details of the embassy and keep a photocopy of your passport and all other important documents in a safe place. Because you never know when you might need a photocopy of your passport or another form of identification, so that you need to bring all times the important documents. And the sixth is avoid using ATMs. And the next is use a secured credit card, manager's check, and traveler's check accordingly. So try to rely more on credit cards and traveler's checks than cash. 8 is do not engage in socio-political protest and similar activities. And next, be aware of fire escapes and emergency exits, so that you need to take note emergency exits, stair wheels, fire escapes, and emergency plans, just in case of emergency. The 10th is do not wear excessive jewelry and familiarize with the information about accommodation, local police stations where appropriate, travel agent, and embassy.
5. Customers with special needs.
So there is an increasing trend of those with special needs engaging with travel and tourism. So they do this on their own and often with carers and family members. So of course, persons with special needs have a right to enjoy travel and leisure experiences. Like everyone else, tourists with disabilities wants to visit places, so many countries have legislation making it an offense to discriminate against those with disabilities. So here in our country, in the Philippines, natay Magna Carta for Disabled Persons. So it was enacted in 1992 through the Republic Act No. 7277. So Magna Carta is an act providing for the rehabilitation, self-development, and self-reliance of disabled persons and their integration into the mainstream and for other purposes. So, as we all know, disabled persons are also part of Philippine society. Thus, the state shall give full support to the improvement of the total well-being of disabled persons and their integration. So, when it comes to businesses needs to be proactive in responding to and effectively addressing their special needs. So, ang pag-respond nato must kanang apply to those nga kanang dili nakita, dili nakadungog, kanang dili kalakaw, and so on and so forth. So, safety and security may include but not limited to the following. So first, we have developing packages, products, and services. So when we develop packages, products, and services, it must be inclusive and suitable or appropriate to those with disabilities in consultation with those who have disabilities and those who will use or buy the items. Next one is planning routes and activities. So in planning routes and activities, we should consider the fact that they are PWD. So when we do activities for them, kanang ato i-make sure nga kaya nila and comfortable sila buhaton tong activities. Next one is providing wheelchair access to restrooms. Kanang when we provide wheelchair access to restroom, it should be for differently abled persons in organizational buildings and transport. Next one is providing vehicles used with wheelchair compatible facilities. So from the word itself, we provide vehicles nga accessible for PWD. Next one is ensuring restroom facilities for differently abled persons. Another one is ensuring accommodation venues. So when we When we ensure the accommodation venues, it should be used on tour to have general facilities to effectively cater for anticipated or known differently abled tour group members. Next one is liaising proactively with special needs customers. Kung sa may pasabot ang liaising proactively, it means to communicate or to collaborate. So, why do we need to communicate or collaborate with special needs customers? It's because para we can learn and identify their needs, wants, and preferences instead of only responding passively to their needs. So next one is training staff in awareness and practical assistance techniques and strategies to facilitate engagement of differently abled persons for them sa mga ilahang mga trips, tours, and activities. Next one is providing dedicated staff. So why do we need to provide dedicated staff? Kay once we provide kanang dedicated staff, kanang sure na nga ang staff makasabot sa situation sa PWD. The next one is creating a committee within the workplace. So we need to create a committee within the workplace to focus on developing and maintaining positive relationships with differently abled clients and groups. And the last one is seeking targeted feedback from differently abled tour group members. So why do we need to do that? It is to identify lessons which can be learned or to improve future tours activities for those with disabilities.
6. Travel insurance.
Many passengers will want to take out the travel insurance when traveling. Agency will seek to recommend, promote, and sell travel insurance to optimize sales profit generated from commission and to provide reassurance for their customers. Benefits of travel insurance for the passengers and traveler. Ang kanisiya, daghan mo, koan mo, avail aning travel insurance kay good koan nindot og mga benefits niya, highly recommended siya. The main benefits of travel insurance is it protects them from the unforeseen circumstances which can be associated with travel such as but not limited to. The first is need to delay and defer or cancel travel arrangements due to your health. If dili ka okay nga koan ana na time nya koan nimo flight nimo karon, imo na lang i-postpone or i-delay or i-cancel imuhang travel kay mas koan biya importante imong health unahon. And travel insurance is once nga mo delay or mo cancel ka kay makover nila. Second, accident and injury which occurs during the travel trip. And third is death. If ever nga naay maaksidente sa plane, nya ang katong mga mga tao nga sila na manubag sa mga gastuhonon sa hospital o medical treatment. If naasay mamatay nga relatives nimo nya naa kay travel insurance, sila po mo cover sa imong mga bills. Fourth, theft of items. Fifth, loss of documents and credit cards. 6. Lost luggage. Luggage benefits cover for loss, damage, or theft of personal effects during one's journey, including a passport, credit card, and other travel documents. It may also include limited benefits for the theft of cash. 7. Evacuation. 8. Compensation in the event of flight cancellation. Your health is most priority of them. There is compensation you need to cancel your flight, same as first statement of the koan about cancellation. Makovered gihapon na sa travel insurance ang kana. However, there are some exclusions not covered by travel insurance policy. True exclusion may vary between insurance providers. Common exclusions are: first, accident or injury associated with participation in professional sporting event. Kana is kanang mga kuan gani na injury sa ilang mga kuan talent nga sa sport nila na like basketball o kuan kanang volleyball or unsa ba diha mga kuan professional nga sport about event, dili na sila manubag ana kay dili na siya cover sa travel insurance. Second, expenses related to childbirth. Kani dili ni sila mo gasto sa ilang mga baryonon sa hospital sa iyang pagpanganak kay dili na siya covered sa travel insurance. Third, personal decision to change the travel plans, change of mind, or disciplination to travel need to change travel arrangement due to financial consideration is also usually not covered by the travel insurance. Fourth, traveling to countries where government warning not to do so are in the place, and expenses compensation which can be claimed against the carrier.
7. Approval from authorities.
Approval from authorities. In some cases, the business will need to obtain approval from government authorities for element of proposed stores. In most cases, specific authority is not needed, but standard operating procedure may be. To advise, notify them of intention so they know what is planned and are prepared for the trip and tour, and can assist, facilitate activities as and if needed. While names, titles of these department agencies vary between countries, there can be a need to seek approval from those with an interest in immigration, customs, parks and wildlife, natural attraction and heritage, health, travel and tourism. Government approval means an approval, permit, license, authorization, certificate, or consent of any government authority. Approval from government authorities is grabe ka importante kay once na usa ka government authorities and dili mo approve, dili gyud na madayo ng usa ka tour because they ensure the safety and the health of a tourist. Ang immigration is kinahanglan gyud sa approval from government authorities to ensure nga ang kana nga tao is walay gidala nga sakit like COVID. So once gani mo migrate, dapat na i-approval from Bureau of Immigration and Department of Health. Hanglan pod og approval from Bureau of Customs to ensure nga ang tour is walay illegal nga purpose, ug ang Bureau of Customs pod ang magpahibaw sa mga do and don'ts. Natural parks and wildlife or natural attraction and heritage is important to ensure nga dili maguba ug mahugaw ang beauty sa usa ka place, to ensure nga dili mahimong pollutant ang lugar. Usa ka tour is need pod og approval from authorities of Department of Health to make sure nga safety ug layo sa mga posible nga sakit ang tourist like COVID. Ang travel and tourism industry is dapat mo approve sad to ensure nga ma-minimize ang possible hazard or accident sa usa ka tour.
8. Media communication following an event incident.
So, media communication and following an event incident. All operators will seek to control their communication with the media. This is especially the case where there has been an event or incident as an accident or injury while on tour, damage to property or equipment while on tour, close calls, near misses happening when on tour, loss of company or tour group member property while on tour, delays or postponement and cancellation of tours or activities, compliance made to the media by the dissatisfied customers or tour group members. Operators should be stay in touch when the tour is happening so that the operators would know what really happened, because as humans we cannot predict risk. That's why it's better to be careful and stay in touch so that the media would know what really happened and to control the possible negative outcome. Next is protocols in this regard will contain identification of persons who have organizational approval to deal with the media, need to never admit liability, allocate blame in the first instance, definition of standards, details which may be released to the media such as date and times, destination and location, name and type of the tour or trip, numbers on tour or names of the. There are protocols that need to be followed. As I mentioned, you need to identify if that person is having the authorization to deal with the media. And second is never distribute resources if not necessary. To be responsible for something, do not distribute information easily. Just release the standard definition like time, date, destination, or location, and so on. If there has been an approval by the operators, you can distribute the needed information. Next is internal requirements for media developing, releases, checking, and authorizing, approving media release for release and responding to the media inquiries. So need to develop the information before it comes in media and checking for the authorized personnel and having approval before it released, and make a concept by responding to the media inquiries or for the possible questions. Next is details regarding types of approved, contact with the media, frequency of media releases and interviews. So contains tips or resources and what would be the body of the interviews that the public needs to know. Next is training in dealing with the media, which should be featured role plays and simulated scenarios. So before doing real interview, must need to practice so that you can deliver the information correctly by using on what as I mentioned.
9. Ethical operation of the business.
So, ethical operations of the business, we will learn here on how to operate a business in a legal way. Organizations will always seek to integrate ethical conduct into the operations of their business so as to: the first, meet legal and contractual obligations. In operating a business, the legal responsibility of each party involved in a contractual agreement. Both parties should understand the signed agreement, like how many hours in a day you will work and until what year you will end your service or work in the business. The second, maintain a positive image for the business in marketplace. So, when you make your own business, your business should have a positive image, like giving a good service to the customer. The third, remain a good, responsible corporate citizen. So, you should be kind and humble in dealing with your co-employer and be responsible in operating the business. Cultivate a basis for optimizing. First, repeat business. So, we should encourage everyone to repeat business so that we can earn more and the business will expand. The second, referral business. So, we should offer some important things or promote to our customers so that they will refer our business to their relatives or friends. Protocols relating to integrating ethical conduct into safety and security include: first, training of staff relation to organizational expectations and legal requirements. For us to have a good relation to our staff or employee, we should help each other and give them advice on what they need to do in terms of work. Legal requirements. The employee or staff should have a legal requirement so that they will know what are the rights of the employee and the benefits that they will get in the company. Example of the legal requirements is contract paper, government benefits like SSS, PhilHealth, and some legal paper like police clearance and BI clearance. The next, need for openness, honesty, and transparency in all dealings. So it means that when we are in the work, we should open and honest with each other and share some ideas that our business will be known. Requirements for promotions and or sales techniques. First, never be misleading or deceptive in making a promotion sales, or you should give a satisfaction to your customer that your product are not misled and deceptive. You need to make sure that it has a good quality. The second, not put pressure on people to make a purchase. In dealing with your customer, you should give a good service and treat them very well. For example, as a sales lady and a merchandisers, the customer asks you a Chanel bag and it is sold out. Don't give her another bag and instead ask her if she has some favorite bag that she likes. Planned and detailed responses for dealing of compliance and issue resolutions. In dealing a compliant, you should already know how to handle the situation and how to resolve the issue. For example, damaged product that the customer wants to refund or replace. To resolve this issue, you need the receipt for the customer and make a deal with him. He is to replace their product. Making the safety and security of 4 group members the number one priority at all times, regardless of all other considerations, with special references to not compromising safety, security in order to: first, save money. It is important for our expenses like food, souvenir, things that needed to buy. Second, save time and or keep a tour running according to the itinerary. Manage your time together with your tour group members, like giving 1 hour in one place and another 1 hour for another place, and limit some time for your events like island hopping. Placing the safety people tour group members above the security of their personal belongings. The company will look for a safety room that your group members are comfortable to place their personal belongings, and someone should guard or look out for the things that lifted. Second, above the security of organizational resources. So, you should secure all the resources or information about the company. You should place this in a vault that only allowed person can see this. Never taking any action or making any compromises which compromise safety of security. So, it means that you need to be careful in any actions that will compromises the safety of everyone.